everybody, and welcome back to season two, now episode two of Coach Please podcast. I'm Dan.
And I'm Monselete.
How you doing out there?
Right? I'm doing well. We're
Yeah,
getting into fall and it's finally cooling off a little. And I'm really excited for today's topic. So, as you know, I always love to throw you a surprise.
mm-hmm.
And for
Yeah,
all for all of our
I
viewers
hear the
out
bus backing up now. What's the
for all of our viewers out there, as you know, we love to coach outside the session. And this is sort of around what other coaches are and are not doing. And so today's topic is the coach who won't pay for coaching. Now, Dan, I don't know about you, but I know some coaches who are coaches, but they don't want to go pay money for a coach and or they just don't want to go get coaching for themselves. Tell me, I mean, that to me is just really cringy, right?
more than, more than, and I come at it from a lot of different angles on that one. There's a hubris involved in that I don't need anybody else. And think about that as a growth perspective for a client. If your client was so fixed that they couldn't change, it didn't have need for change, would they even show up to work with you? But if we sit and think of ourselves as finished products that are stopped right here with everything we need and our self-awareness and our growth and potential, what does that mean for us moving forward in life and changing and evolving? If we see I'm a fixed point in space and time and I can't change, that's so counterintuitive to the field that we're in and the service we provide to others.
Yeah, so like you, I feel like we could hit this at a few different directions. The first one for
Mm-hmm.
me that comes up is money. So a coach doesn't want to go pay for it, literally go pay for it. So it's like you as the coach, you don't want to go pay for coaching, but you want somebody to pay you for coaching. Trust me, clients are going to feel that and sense that. Or the coach is asking for a very high ticket offer. To work with them is 8, 10 grand. But do they go and drop 8, 10, 20, or 30 or 50 grand a year to go be coached by somebody else? And they'll say, no way, that's too expensive. What are you doing? So that's sort of the first one. The other one that comes to mind, which I don't know which one you want to tackle first, is I'll just say what you just said. Maybe there's something also around being in the client chair. There's fear, there's avoidance, maybe there's ego around that. It is hard to be the coach and then move to being in the client chair. There's a lot of vulnerability that I think has to show up for that. Um, all of this in general to me, and I don't even know if this is a very good similarity, but to me, when you don't want to, if you're a coach who doesn't want to pay for coaching, that to me is like saying, I'm a Spanish teacher and I teach Spanish, but I don't know how to speak Spanish. Like,
And it,
how does that happen? How can you teach Spanish if you don't know how to speak Spanish? How can you coach, really coach and ask people to pay you for coaching if you can't go and do it?
and there's that classic line in the industry of you can't take someone deeper than you've gone yourself. So if we don't begin that deeper dive into who we are and what beliefs, what emotions, what ideas are we sitting in this chair with that we don't even know are present as unconscious biases, leanings one way or another, do we believe in our client's ability to achieve their goal? And if they sit down and they tell us this grand goal, but if in our breadth of experience in life, our initial reaction is, what? Like, you think you're going to do that? That vibe is going to come through rather than seeing potential in them and potential in ourselves to grow even larger. Um, it annoys me so much. And I remember it's funny, this came up in a different way this week when I was writing some marketing materials and a blog that how did it come up? If you're not willing to if you're not willing to invest in yourself, why should someone invest in you?
Exactly.
And this idea that there's nothing more to learn.
Yeah, it's two pieces. And
Mm-hmm.
listen, there are many coaches who are getting the education. If you're a credentialed coach, you have to have continuing education. I'm sorry though, education is not the same as being coached. They're two different things.
Nope.
You need to be doing both. And so, like you said, yes, you can get to the MCC level, that's the highest level, and then you stop your learning, you stop your education, but you could be stopping your coaching. You no longer need mentorship hours to get to the next credential. You don't need supervision coaching because you're the supervision coach. But, like, who's coaching you? Who's supervising you? So, it really is, I think it almost gets harder as you get to the highest level. I mean, you're an MCC coach now, and you've talked about this. You've just renewed your credential. So you've had this credential for what, 8 years?
I've been credentialed overall for 8 years. I've had the MCC now for two and a half.
Yeah. And so you've got the MCC. You could make the choice, well, I'm done. I'll just do my continuing education so I can get enough to renew my credential, or I can continue to get education. And I probably still need to be coached. I probably still, right? Like there's all these things that go into it. And I think if you're an ACC or PCC coach, at the bare minimum, right, to get to the next credential, you have to have mentorship hours. So maybe there's
Mhm.
that. So I do think as you work your way up the chain, it probably gets harder to be accountable for creating resources for yourself in a way, whereas it's easier to do that when you're a younger coach or younger in the chain of credentials. But overall, some of the coaches that I'm friends with some coaches, and it's almost as if it's just that is their mindset. I can't afford a coach right now. I'm not getting a coach. Why can't I get a client? I can't seem to get any clients. It's like, well, you're not willing to pay for a coach. Why is somebody willing to pay for you?
And right there, you just spoke the essence of the laws of creating and manifesting around law of vibration and law of attraction. If you're vibrating at a level that says, I can't afford it, and you're putting that on yourself, you're projecting it out to the clients who now can't afford you, and you're creating your reality around that. Where if you start investing in self, not just education, education's one thing, but this deeper experience of who you are and what's coming up and what are your drivers that might be getting in the way, that's that's where the gold of this experience is for both the coach and ultimately for their clients.
Yes, and we've talked a lot of times about the core competencies, and which one's coming to mind for you with this one?
There's two. Competency two, and I think it's bullet point number two under it about coach engages in ongoing learning and development. And then down in core competency eight around facilitating growth, I think it's 8.1 about helping the client to see things from a new perspective and anchoring their progression. If we're not if we're not getting insight to see things differently, we can't anchor that progression for ourselves.
Exactly. We want our clients to be fully resourced, and we wonder why so many people don't believe in coaching when they could have a much better life with it. And if that's the truth, then we as coaches, we need to have supervision. I believe get a mentor coach, get a supervision coach, get a coach for yourself outside of the supervision and the mentor. Like, get as fully resourced as possible so that you can really show up in a way. There's not a lot of coaches doing that, right? I mean, I can say in the world of coaching, how many coaches really are being fully resourced with all these coaches so that they can be the best player in the game. And you love football. I mean, it really is, to be the best player in the game, you need to be fully resourced. So I mean, imagine if we as coaches were doing that, how great of the game we can show up to the client as. I think that that's really important.
Yeah, and for those of you who have been on this journey of the podcast with us, you notice I have a different background for this season. And normally I have my Mahomes and Smith jerseys up behind me. And think about what Monselete just said there as in sports, you make it to the super high echelon of professional sports, the NFL, the NBA, MLB, those players don't stop. They keep training and developing. And even, I hold my hand up over here where my Mahomes jersey would be one of, I'll hedge it, one of the greatest quarterbacks with his accomplishments that sport has ever seen and he's constantly continuing to progress, train, learn how to do things better and differently. He has his coaches on the side helping him see the game, just like Tom Brady did, who arguably, very arguably, the greatest quarterback the sport has ever seen. Um, all of those guys have someone to help them continue to progress. And
Yeah.
if you want to live at that level as a professional, it's just part of what you have to do.
Yeah, and whether Tom Brady is arguably one of the best or not, what he is so well known for, and you'll ask any other player, I mean, I think he had a sleep coach. I mean, he had a coach for almost every category of his life, and that's what he was known for. So whatever he did on the field or not, like pretty much all these players when they are interviewed, it's like, man, he was playing in a different game, right? Literally in a different game. And I think he opened that door for people like Mahomes and some of these other guys who are like, wow, to do what he did, I've got to be fully surrounded and I mean, if I'm not sleeping well, I'm not playing well. If I'm not training well, I'm not playing well, right? So these guys are getting coaches in every aspect of their life, diet, sleep, you know, everything. And that's what helps them to be the best that they can be when they show up on that field. And how great is it to know that, like, if you've done everything for yourself to be the best as a coach or a player, when you go to show up and maybe it doesn't work out with that client or they don't get to where they need to be, at least you're not thinking, well, maybe I should have gotten more coaching myself, or maybe I should have done this. Like, that you've shown up and you've played the best hour of that game with that client that you can. And that, I think, speaks so much more volumes than showing up and not playing 100%. If you know that you're showing up at 100%, then it doesn't even matter what that outcome ends up being, right? Because we're showing up present at 100%.
And then, even with that, we show up with what's in our control. If we start feeling like something could have been different or better, that's not a shaming moment. That's oh,
A
let me
learning.
go talk to somebody. And whether it's supervision, mentoring, or just
Yeah.
having a session conversation, what's going on for me that I'm even judging it?
Right. I mean,
And we can move in there.
yeah, like you said, Mahomes, I mean, he's training, but he also has coaches, like his main coach of the team is also showing him what he could have done differently or what he could have done better. And that's what a supervision and a mentor coach can help you do, aside from just going and getting your coaching. Having a supervision coach, having a mentor coach is going to show you how you could show up differently, how you can look at it differently. And that is just so important. Even when you finally get to the MCC and you don't need those hours or those supervision hours anymore, right? So, all right. So
Yeah.
I love this conversation, and I think that's it. I would like to just say, if you like this episode, like it, please subscribe to our channel. And I would love to know, what's your take? Would you hire a coach who isn't being coached? Comment below and let us know.
I know my answer to that question.
I know mine.
See you later.
See you next time.